Hey guys, it's Jeff here from RenoVision. Have you noticed the caulking around your tub and shower isn't looking as good as it used to? It's probably cracking, peeling, maybe even moldy. The reason for that is people are doing it wrong and using the wrong products. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove it and then reinstall it the right way, so make it look brand new again. And we got some tips and tricks so it'll last for years, so you don't have to redo this every single year. This video is sponsored by GE, and today I'm using the GE Supreme Silicone Kitchen and Bath. Let's just jump right into this. So if you have mold in your tub, first thing you want to do is you want to take a knife, okay? And you want to cut, not the whole thing, just cut the top part of the silicone off. Okay, little bit of a trim here. Here we go. And you peel that off. And you see, one side will be black. If the back side is clean and white, then you don't have mold coming from behind the wall. You just have organic sitting on your silicone. So it may not be a problem behind the wall, it might be on the surface. And so if you have that, then what we want to do is you can bleach that and it'll come out clean, okay? But otherwise, your mold's coming from behind, you're running into real trouble. And you might want to consider even changing your whole tub shower system. We got a video for that. You want to check out our site. We'll show you how to do that. But today, we're just going to tackle how to remove the silicone and do it safely. So I went and picked up this tool. Now, I'm over here in Canada, so if you're watching outside of Canada, you're going to have different brands selling different products. There are other tools on the market very similar to this. We're going to put links in our video descriptions. You can get stuff from Amazon if you need to. But here's how these work. They have a hook on the back. You can really scrape inside, and they've got this little removal system. The idea here is you can just set it in the gap here and scrape along, and it removes the silicone. Okay. In this particular case, they've also got grout in that. Makes it a little more difficult. And if it's delaminated badly enough, you can actually use your finger. If the silicone is of poor quality, then it won't even bond to the surfaces at all. It just looks like it's stuck there. You can rub it off with your finger. Like that's pretty embarrassing for that. That is just cheap product right there, okay? Now, you can't use a knife for this, okay? If you have a steel tub, you'll cut through the paint and you'll expose the metal and it'll start to rust. But this tool works really effectively. And the whole idea here is you want to clean as much of that silicone out as you can before you go to the next step. All right, here we go. The good news is almost every builder and renovator on the planet uses really cheap silicone because there is a difference in quality in the products, all right? Now, one of the reasons we're using the Supreme is it's formulated to bond to smooth surfaces, so it won't delaminate, okay? It's also a lifetime mold-free product. And if you don't want to do this every year, buy good stuff, okay? Because you get what you pay for. So guys, I'm going to recommend personally to all of our viewers to use the Supreme line, okay? So to avoid all the confusion and headache of trying to sort it out at the caulking aisle, right? You can just go and hit the link in our description to our Amazon store, or you can search your Amazon app and just search Home RenoVision, and you'll be able to get this product shipped right to your house. Brilliant. Now, so as we go along, I'm going to be outlining all the different reasons why people have a failure when they're using their silicone. Number one is they use a cheap product. Number two, the water gets in behind the grout and pushes it off the wall, right? So number three is when you've removed it, you're leaving a residue. Now, over here you can see it on the wall. Okay. What's not so obvious is there's a residue even on the tub, but you can't even see it. When you touch the tub, you can feel it. You can feel that resistance with your fingertip, okay? Resist the temptation to think that that's clean and ready to go. Silicone doesn't bond to silicone very well. This is a rubbing alcohol, and what it does is it dries almost immediately, like it evaporates. So you want to get it on a rag. This is good for residue, but what you're going to see here, this will drive you nuts trying to rub that off because it is still a lot of bulk, all right? So before we go to using the alcohol, there's one more step we want to use. Boom, and that's this. Now these scrapers come with a plastic and with a metal blade, right? So the plastic blades are used for your acrylic or your painted surfaces, and you can get right in here and clean those off as much as possible And then the metal blade, you want to use it on the side up against your tile. This will just trim the last little bit of silicone off of the stone. There we go. Now, believe it or not, you still are going to have a residue, and that's what we use the alcohol for. So we're now prepping the surface to receive the silicone, and when you're using alcohol, A, it cleans, but second, it evaporates, and so you don't need to wait for it to dry. Give that just a few seconds and you'll be ready to go. So one more thing I'm going to mention, it's not going on here, but a lot of you are going to find when you remove the silicone, you're going to reveal a gap underneath your tile. And it's going to be holding water, okay? You're going to have to make sure you get a rag, suck it up as much as you can, and then grab a hair dryer and force that sucker dry. Even let it sit overnight if you need to, all right? But you can't apply silicone to a wet surface. So you make sure you stop and make sure it's dry before you move forward. Now, if you're a fan of my channel, you know that I don't use tape for hardly anything. And when it comes to silicone, I don't usually use tape either. But that's because I've been renovating for a lot of years, and I like to use a nice dry finger. It takes time to get really disciplined at it. So what I'm going to suggest, you get yourself some tape, and you line up what your silicone line should look like in advance. Okay, and we're talking somewhere around 1/8 to 3/16 of a gap, and it's going to be inconsistent based on your tile. That's fine. You want to do the same gap top and bottom. And you see this area here? It looks like they cut the tile with the grinder to make it fit. We want to make sure that our tape line is above that cut. We don't want to have that exposed. So in this particular case, we're going to have a little bit more silicone here, and that's fine. We'll run over the edge so we can do this consistently. Okay? You want to take that bead when you're applying it, and you want to finish going all the way down. You know, for best results, I'm going to recommend you go a little bit wider than the first bead that you saw here. That is a really small bead, okay? Like really small. One more little note. The tape is designed to provide us a positive stop on the surface. It's not the be-all and end-all of the program. All right? So it's okay if you're finding in the corner, if it's too long, just take your knife and peel it back. And then you're ready to go the next way. If you're new to it, or you're not good at it, use the tape. I'm just showing this so that if you're a beginner, this is what we do for beginners so that you don't get a bad job. This is here so that if you have too much silicone and after we're cleaning it all up, it has somewhere to run that you can then remove out of the area. All right, we'll demonstrate that in just a second. Before you apply your silicone, fill your tub with water. Why? Because tubs generally bend and flex under weight, which puts stress on the sealant joint. All right, guys, so it comes time to do the caulking itself. You want to take a look at the width of this bead that you need, and then you want to kind of find that same width of your caulking tube. All right, that's about what we want, and we want to cut it on an angle. Boom. All right. Now, caulking guns come with a rod. You have to puncture the seal. Okay, there we are. That's it. Nice and simple. Load it up. Here we go. That's good. That'll work. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load that in, start squeezing here until it comes out. pulling away on this angle, and you'll notice every time I stop with the trigger, the material stops coming out. All right, and that's one of the benefits. Now, using the tape allows you to get as messy and rookie as you want, okay? Or you can get that pressure and the flow as perfect and professional as you like. All right, now we switch angles, find that cut tip, get it in there. Bring this all the way down the side and then pull away from the end. Meet up with that corner. Okay, now, I know right at the moment it doesn't look very professional. That's okay. That's what the tape is for. I'm gonna mimic real life events here. And we're gonna get the other tool. And there's a lot of different silicone tools on the market. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to use soapy water. Okay? Remember, silicone doesn't bond to anything that's wet. So anytime you see somebody using soapy water and then wiping it, what they're doing is they're mixing water onto the surface that they're trying to bond silicone to. It's guaranteed failure. So don't do that. Instead, and we'll do this over here, you just set this little tool in the corner without using too much pressure the first time. And you find that sweet spot, okay? Okay, now there's a lot of material here. Okay. I'm gonna grab my rag. I'm just gonna clean my tool as I go. And that was extreme, just to demonstrate the point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back again with a little bit of pressure, and we're going to make that bead even smaller. And we're going to make it nice and clean on the tape edges, in that corner. Okay, you see the difference? There's all the material that I took off, and all that's sitting on the tape. Now, we're going to come in the corner, and I'm going to pull a couple of times and then switch the side. There we go. Now that's the bead that I want, right there. And I'm going to come back this way. And with that caulking on there, I'm going to go back to that corner. Try to apply it in there perfectly so I don't dig it out. Okay. Nice clean tool, one more pass, make sure everything is nice and pressed. Perfect. And bottom up here. Do a gentle pass first, and then we're going to do it with some pressure. So the gentle pass is to clean off excess material, and then the pressure is to get the look that you want. Now the truth is with this tool, doing these edges is really difficult. So we're going to come back, see how it slips off? This is where you want to cheat. You want to use a finger. Right here, nice dry finger, round that over. Because a dry finger gets a perfect result every time. All right, now, while it's wet, because it dries in 30 minutes, right? While it's wet, you want to take your tape and get it out of here. Okay? Now, the reason we use pressure when we're pulling it is so we're not having a huge buildup line right where that tape was. Oh boy. Yeah. And there we have it. The only problem we have here is we did have too much material in that corner. So you can see I have a ridge, okay? Because I didn't clean enough of the material out. The tape is great if you're making a mess as a DIYer, if you're new to this business. But what the tape does do is it creates a bad ridge if you don't take enough material away. Okay? So consider that when you're doing this. There we go. You got a few minutes to keep pulling until you get your line perfect. All right, so don't panic. All right, now remember, you've got a few minutes to tool it because it is 30 minutes water ready, but that means it's also very stiff. So I'm going to recommend tape off in silicone one side at a time, okay? Give yourself a little working room if you're new to it. If you've used silicone before, obviously you're fine to do the whole tub. That's about everything you need to be successful. Leave the water in the tub until it's done curing. Cheers to next time.